Network. Thank you so much for joining us here on this beautiful Tuesday evening. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to Twiggy that you guys are tuned in to listen to us bicker, complain, bitch, and moan and debate on some of the hot topics that are happening right here, right now, in real time, I might add. You know, some of the topics you might be familiar with, other than not so much, but that's why we do the Master Debater Show, kind of give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we're talking about, what's happening, and then we go from there. So without further ado, let us share this live stream out to just a few of you guys. We're not going to do anything crazy. We got some huge announcements that are going to be kicking off here shortly when Twiggy gets back. I've got one that's going to fucking blow the roof off the building, and it's not what you think it is. Ladies, call me. Let's see here. So first and foremost, let me get to the right fucking thing. See, I wish like Twitch and Facebook were like kind of like integrated in a sense, although that's why we were on Twitch and not on Facebook. Facebook is not exactly other format friendly, are they? Let's see here. So we'll copy this. This will work just fine. It did yesterday. So I'm an asshole. I didn't put this into the fans of the Sid Jones Network, so I'll do that right now. Let's see. Just bear with me here a moment. Just bear with me here a moment. And if you're watching the replay, you can always fast forward to about like the 5-minute mark, or like 5 minutes in or whatever. Let's see. There we go. I swear, like my vision's going. It's crazy. There we go. Posted. Awesome. So now I can share from here, correct? I should fucking be able to. All right. Yes, I can. Perfect. Welcome back, Twiggy. We're just working on sharing this out to just the select groups.
Okay. I don't know what groups that I am in that would actually support this kind of stuff, so that's all you.
Yeah, I actually found one. They fuck with us, dude. It's weird. It's called Wake Up America.
Wake Up America?
Yeah.
Sounds like a TV show.
I know. Speaking of TV shows, we're going to be getting to that announcement here a little later.
Oh, yeah, you got something with that, don't you?
I do. I was going to wait.
Ooh.
I was going to wait. But you know what? Since it is the two of us, just the two of us, Hey, I don't care what anybody says. It is a great fucking song. The other song that I like, which isn't even on Spotify.
Wait. Before you finish, which version? The original was the
97 Bonnie and Clyde. 97
Okay.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, because there's actually three of them. The original was a wedding song. Then there was one by Will Smith, and then 97 Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, 97 Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay, that's the only right answer.
All right. But I was going to say, the other song that I like from Eminem, which, by the way, gets like no credit for one, and for two, it's fucking weird. It's not even on Spotify. It's called Bully. Have you heard it?
Bully?
Bully.
I don't think I've heard it.
Oh, it's like the OG Kill Shot. It's fucking great.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I fucking love it. Oh, it's so good. I know. We're not talking about music tonight. We're actually talking about politics. My forte. Did you catch the... Yeah, I know. I wasn't going to go on the Master Debaters and not shake some lemonade at some of the gorgeous women that aren't here right now. Wait, are they here right now? They probably are, and I can't see them. Yup, we got Corrupt Doll Emily. We got
who's that?
We've got Atomic Cortex. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you greatly on this beautiful Tuesday night.
Yep.
So Twiggy,
yeah.
Real quick, you got it on your banner, and I just wanted to say thank you for doing that. We have 19 signatures just today. We have 19
Awesome.
signatures just today to get me on the ballot for 2024.
I signed.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. I
just
said,
want to take a quick thing. Check out my background.
destroy power, not people. You know what's funny? That was a line from Crass, and the guy who used to be in Crass, Gavin McInnes, he now has his own podcast because he was too controversial for Vice, which he helped fund. So he's got his own podcast called Get Off My Lawn. Make sure you guys are checking that out after you guys
watch. Is that
watch
where that
us.
came from?
Sure is.
Okay, I was wondering what that was. I should check that out.
Yeah, so Gavin McInnes is a fucking genius. I love Gavin. Oh my god, that dude's funny. He did a rundown on the Rambo Last Blood trailer, And there was people that were calling it racist because they're talking about the Mexican drug cartel. And he goes, of course it's racist because it's, Mexican. But if it was the Americans, what would you call it? The American cartel? Like what the fuck?
No shit.
Goddamn. So that guy's a fucking living legend. The guy's a genius. One of the members of Crass, by the way. So I thought that was neat. Real quick, Twiggy, a couple of updates for you. Apparently, and this was as of just today, I don't know if you heard, but Georgia was recounting their ballots. And as it turns out, there was over 2,000 uncounted ballots.
I have no idea what to say to that.
Well, that makes me wonder. If there's an issue in one part of your department.
Well, if there's an issue in that part, there's an issue in another part.
Exactly, which means and here's a kicker. I don't give a fuck who wins. It should be a fair election, and we should do a recount.
Well, what state should do the recount, though? Because they fucked up at Georgia. They fucked up somewhere else.
Yeah, but did you hear what that? So here's another cool thing, Twiggy, that you're not going to like. There was a case of voters fraud. It happened in... I told Will Oxide to check it out. He hasn't gotten back to me. It's called 40 Fort, Minnesota. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Okay, so it's a town called 40 Fort, Minnesota. And back in September, there was a guy who filled out his dead mom's or his dead wife, somebody who was dead. He filled out their ballot along with his, and he forged their signature onto the ballot. And the fucked up thing is he voted for Trump. Yeah. So it's not the Democrats that are committing fraud.
Can you see the question mark on my face?
Kind of, sort of, but you're smiling so big, it's hard to tell. So this makes me wonder if Republicans are doing this and they're saying, count the ballots over here and then stop to count the over here, which was really fucking confusing because it was election night. Right. And by the time they were saying this, it was not at 102%. When they were saying this was 75, 78, 80, 83%, I was even one saying just call these states. If it's above 85%, call it. I was saying that. And had they done that, we would have Donald Trump as president. However, with that said, Donald Trump isn't exactly the champion right now as far as presidency goes. Apparently he's conceded and then turned around and said, I don't concede. And he's pretty much talking about not leaving the White House and maintaining his...
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
That scene from Man in the Moon when Tony Clifton doesn't want to leave Hollywood.
Yep. We got MJ Baker in the building. We've got Des Vidoma. How are my beautiful boys doing tonight? We're doing fucking amazing. We're loving it. So
there's that Irish accent.
Huh?
There's that Irish accent.
Oh, yeah. We should get our Scottish friend back up here. She'll fucking love it. She'll shit on us for talking like this.
Say Irish wristwatch.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question, Twiggy. With the landscape currently with the political system, do you think that Trump should, in fact, even though he's technically lost the election, that he should, in fact, concede and try again in 2024?
Honestly, you really can't get much done in 4 years as presidency, as fucked up as the country is. So even if he does get reelected, 4, 8, 12 fucking years later, it's not going to change anything.
Right. And that's what a lot of people are worried about right now is that we got a guy in office who's now lost, like for the first time since I think it was Bush Sr., we've had a one-term president. Jimmy Carter, I believe, was a one-term president, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't in my lifetime.
It wasn't mine.
Well, I mean, Jimmy Carter, I mean.
Right, no, Jimmy Carter was not, but I also like history, so it's like I was alive, but it's not like I knew what the fuck was going on politically, right? I was a fucking 2 years old, 4 years old, 4. I'd say 4.
No, really, I think we really should do this recount on the accounts of Georgia because we have to iron out what the fuck happened. So,
well, if there's a miscount in Georgia, that leads me to question Michigan, Pennsylvania. That leads me to question a lot of the major
Nevada,
states now.
Especially, that's what it came down to this year.
Yep, and those are the states, like the major states, like the ones that like Texas, I would recount those as well. But with like states like New Hampshire, I've seen our ballot process. It's fucking like not a whole lot of people in New Hampshire vote anyways.
I gotta ask this.
Yeah.
I don't remember what state it was. Which one was it that had 0% but one electoral vote?
Wasn't that Hawaii?
It was either Hawaii or Alaska, but I can't remember. But the question is, should we recount that state?
No. No, we should not. We should not recount Hawaii or Alaska. Like I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure Trump won Alaska. He won Alaska and lost Hawaii.
I just don't understand how there's a 0%.
And it's still got an electoral vote. I know, and there was people that were pissed off about California, like just popping up on the map like out of nowhere. But I'm like, it's California, man. It's California. We pretty much had it figured out. But California was also doing their election, and they were also doing their counts all damn day. But there's a lot in Los Angeles, San Diego. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of major cities in there. So for it to come up that quick does make me wonder. However, logic and common sense tells me that Democrats have California, and they always will. They're progressive over there, with their
they got the LGBT. That's like the heart of the LGBT.
Right. And I'm one of the issues I've got with the LGBT and one of the issues that I got with the Biden regime. Now, for those that thought that I was supporting Biden because I was talking shit on Trump, let me be clear on something. Things aren't going to get better with Biden. As a matter of fact, things are going to get worse. More participation trophies. I'm not a homosexual. Like, I'm not gay. Therefore, I'm a homophobe because I don't kiss guys. So that makes me a homophobe. Like, we're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot more of these are your different degrees of racism. And if you even run a company, if you're in the company, if you work with the government, if you do this, that, and the other, you're going to be given 45-minute class digitally on all this shit that you are.
Training 2020.
Right. My stepdad just went and did that. He went through a process where he had to sit there and watch this 45-minute video on how he was racist and the ways that he could do to avoid him being racist. Like, what the fuck?
Let me break it down what 2020 is going to look like. You cannot say, I love you anymore. In 2020, you have to say, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too. Like, I remember when they got rid of Christmas and they turned it to Xmas. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not Christian, but that's not going to upset me. And then there was this whole uprising about Christmas trees in the you hear about this shit? Christmas trees in the fucking airports? Like, people were getting pissed off. There was a Christmas tree in the air. I'm like, come on now. It's you don't like a Christmas tree?
The Christmas tree is actually a pagan tradition because the pagans would cut down the only tree that was able to survive in the winter, bring it inside to preserve its life, hack off the bottom of it, stick it in water, decorate it with anything imaginable that's flammable, and then throw it in the fire. Yeah.
Are we buffering right now? I'm told that we're buffering like crazy.
I'm not sure.
Let me take a look. I got it pulled up here. Give me 1 second.
It's fine on my end. I'm looking at it. Everything's running real smooth. It would either have to be something on their end or something with StreamYard because Twitch looks fine.
Yeah, it's weird. I've actually got a loading ad thing, and it's from Snickers. So we actually have a Snickers. So this show is brought to you by Snickers, officially. It's not buffering.
It's fine on my end.
It looks fine on mine. So here we go. Yeah, perfect. All right, I'm happy. I just wanted to double check that real quick. All right, Twiggy. So here's another thing I wanted to bring up to you real quick before we start getting into the holidays and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I know this has been on your mind. If you're a Michigander, it's been on your mind too. This 3-week lockdown.
Jesus.
I know. Trust me, I know. This is what made me get a move on to be president. I was like, I need these signatures like quick. When I was hearing about this.
Fucking fire under your ass, Sid.
I know. So a question is, when we're in lockdown for 3 weeks, when does the 3 weeks start? Because as far as I was told, it should have already been put into effect.
I really can't answer that for sure. We're going to have to wait till see what Bitchmer does. But there's something that really stands out to me. I gotta remember the name of it. Michigan Congress said that she was abusing her power by, for lack of better terms, illegally enacting the 1942 clause help me, what's the name of it? You got to know what I'm talking about here. Like an emergency act or something. I can't remember the exact name, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
And this, in the event of a state of emergency, the governor has executive power.
Yes, she enacted that, and Michigan Congress said that was pretty much illegal, but yet for somehow they're not fucking questioning her.
Right. So this is my thought. Okay, I'm not saying this is true or not, but this could be the case. So she puts in this 3-week thing, right? Did you know that the president of the United States can send in troops into any country he wants for 30 days? He can deploy soldiers anywhere he wants for 30 days. Anything longer than that, he needs Congress's approval. Here's the question, though. What happens when those soldiers get gunned down and now we have to go to war with this country? That kind of forces Congress's hands, doesn't it?
That, the way I look at it, is a bit of a double standard. The president can send a troop to any country, even his own, for 30 days. If that troop gets fired upon, that is an act of war. So therefore, why are we there to begin with?
Right, but that's what happened with Bush. If you remember the war in Iraq, what he did is he got denied from Congress to go to war. They said no, we're not, because that like I can't come out and say I declare war on this country. Congress is going to go, but you don't.
Yeah, you have to have a reason to do it.
Right, and Congress has to approve. So what Bush did is he sent in troops for 30 days into Iraq. They got attacked. He said, oh yeah, by the way, so I sent in these troops, which by the way I'm allowed to do. And they've been attacked, so we're going to go to war with Iraq. And Congress went, oh, for fuck's sakes. We told this idiot not to, oh my God. Fine. We're going to war with fucking Iraq, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know what
that's basically what it is. If you're sending troops into anywhere and they get gunned down, you are asking for a fucking war.
Right. That brings me to this point, though, with Whitmer. Does she have that capability? Because it's 3 weeks. Now, as we know, 3 weeks is going to do fuck all. We were in lockdown for what, a month and a half?
Are you asking if the governor has the right to enact a 3-week, or are you asking if the governor has the right to deploy troops?
No. I'm just saying, if a president can deploy troops for 30 days and it doesn't violate Congress, it doesn't violate the Constitution, with her power, if she can only have it for 3 weeks, is she only doing it for 3 weeks because that's what it's allowed to have without it superseding? That's my question. What powers do the governors have that they're able to do that? And second, follow-up, what is a 3-week shutdown going to do for Michigan?
Look at what happened during April.
Right. Again,
she enacted the 3-4 week whatever thing, but like 2 or 3 days right before it's supposed to end, I'm enacting it again. 3-4 weeks later, there's another one. 3-4 weeks later, there's another one. Every single fucking person in Michigan is pulling their hair out, asking what the fuck. It got to a point where people are basically invading the Capitol building, standing on government grounds with fucking whatever rifle that they're carrying, and she even got almost kidnapped for it, supposedly, I should say. And this is it any kind of fucking wake-up call?
Okay, so first off, here's where the governor fucked up. Here's where the president fucked up. And I'm going to tell you how we got to this point. Because this is what you don't know, Twiggy. And what I'm going to tell you may upset you. Donald Trump, was told that we were at the risk of a pandemic. Obama and Bush and presidents prior to that said that we were geared up for another pandemic. One of the first things that Trump did, which I can see his perspective on it because he was doing the same things that I wanted to do. He just shut down all the wrong things. He wanted to drain the swamp, but he pulled the wrong valves. Instead of going after the FCC and going after the EPA and going after the FDA and going after the pharmaceutical companies, he pulled the switch on the pandemic crisis crew. These teams that were assembled by Obama. And they had similar members to that George W. Bush had. And he was like, yeah, we don't need a pandemic task force. Had he had kept that in play, they could have reported to him what was happening in Wuhan, and we could have prevented this whole catastrophe. So that's the fault of the president, okay? The fault of the governor is she has executive power in Michigan. See, states have different laws than the federal government. When it comes
this is where it gets confusing.
And this is where it gets confusing. But thank God he got me as a president. Going to be able to give you guys the rundown because Trump couldn't do it to save his life. Let's be fair. So let's say all of us, we're sitting down and doing our thing in the state of New Hampshire, right? And we're like, hey, listen, we want knife laws. Okay, we want knife laws. And then somebody comes in and says, but I can't use this knife to save somebody who off duty from being while I'm an EMT, because using it while I'm off duty is illegal. It's a felony. And we just said, well, instead of mandating, instead of monitoring, let's just get rid of the knife laws. Fuck it. We need to save lives. If knives save lives, then we should make it so that way there's no knife laws. Butterfly knives, stilettos, switchblades, all those lovely knives that Michigan can't have, New Hampshire can. They're not federally looked over. Like they're not monitored nor policed by the federal government. But that is a state's right to do that. What you do with the concealed carry weapon is up to your states to do so. And the same thing happened with Whitmer. She could have done anything she wanted with the state of Michigan. What she should have done is kept everybody in lockdown, number one, until further notice. So that's what it should have been. Instead of
renewing it every 3 weeks.
Right. Instead of doing the renewing, listen, until further notice. And then what I would be doing is paying attention to what other countries are doing, right? And trying to see, okay, listen, what's going on in Wuhan? It's a fucking disaster. Okay, so fuck Wuhan. Let's look over at what Israel's doing. Israel's doing this, and it's kind of working for them. We should try some of it. If it works for them, why wouldn't it work for us? Jay Berger, did you hear we're pulling 150,000 troops from overseas in January? Yes, I did. But here's the question: can we do that before January 19th?
Yeah,
is the question. And is the president going to be savvy enough to be and have the wherewithal to keep business at hand versus I won the election? Another question. We'll get to that next. So what you should have done is looked at New Zealand. What New Zealand did is they stayed in lockdown for a full 3 months. Full 3 months. There is no COVID cases reported in New Zealand right now. Now, New Zealand, I'm no geography major, but I'm pretty sure New Zealand is bigger than the state of Michigan, right?
Last time I checked, yes.
Okay, so if fucking New Zealand, stayed in lockdown for 3 months and like, hey, we're okay. Michigan should have been like, hey, New Zealand, I like that. Hey, and they're a warmer climate. They're a much warmer climate.
I can't help but wonder if New Zealand actually has better doctors than not just Michigan, but the United States as a whole. Regardless of the fact that Michigan University is a world-renowned hospital. Oh my God, are they fucking stupid?
Well, they are stupid, but just remember, I was not born and raised here. I am not a Michigander. I'm a transplant.
Neither was I.
Yeah, I know.
Sunshine State, motherfucker.
Yep, yeah. You and me are from the sister states of Florida and New Hampshire, my friend.
Hell yeah.
I love it. So you and me kind of, we've got the same kind of politics, you and me. Our states are fucking knocking it out of the park right now, are they not?
Hell yeah, man.
All right. Not much of a debate here. So when it comes to the governor and it comes to all these different things that the governor is able to do, that's what she should have done. Because she could have overseen what the president was doing. Instead of being like, Mr. President, we need this. She could have done her own investigation. She could have called up all these other countries. She has the capability of doing that. I'm sorry, if she can get a call from the president of the United States, she's got a red phone in there where she's able to call other countries. And she doesn't have to call the Pope and the presidents and the prime ministers and shit like that. She can call civilians. I do it all the time. I talk to Dibber in the Wind from the UK. I talk to Inquisitor from the UK. I got a friend of mine from the Middle East that I talk to on occasion. And I can ask them what the fuck is going on, right? Because they are civilians. When it comes to somebody with diplomacy, I feel like they've got an agenda. Oh, no, everything is fine here. Nothing to look at. No, everything okay. How come you guys are building hospitals? No reason. Everything okay. Okay?
They are not hospitals. They are the research facilities.
But are you sure they are research facilities?
What are you researching?
Nothing. Exactly. So if I call somebody, I'm like, hey, fucking, I don't know, man. But it's got one of those red crosses on it, so I assume it's a hospital or it's a large FEMA camp. It's one of the two, sir.
Yeah, no shit.
So what somebody should have done, the governor, should have reached out to these countries since if she felt like the president was incompetent to do so. If I was a governor of my state of New Hampshire and people were like, please Help us. All right. Well, first I got to see what the rest of the world is doing, and I'll get back to you guys. But for the meantime, let's stay in lockdown. And here's what I would have done. As governor, I would have done this. I would have made some calls, been like, okay, what do we have in the budget? Ooh. All right. So if we're in lockdown, I'm supposing we're not going to need any road construction anytime soon for this year. So we can cancel that.
I wouldn't even go that far. These roads are fucking terrible.
Right, but if it's lockdown, nobody's out on the streets. Workers still have to work side by side. So we're going to just cancel construction season this year.
I wouldn't. Now we're actually starting to get into debating here.
Yes.
Even though it is lockdown, I would still focus on the road because that would be the perfect fucking time to do it because nobody's on the roads. We got emergency vehicles, we got ambulance, police cars, fire trucks, et cetera, fucking trying to avoid all these different potholes that are filled with fucking basically mud and water and dirt.
Right.
We need to have these fucking roads fixed. And lockdown is the best time to do it.
I understand that. But if I'm governor, again, to reiterate my point here, if I'm governor, I'm trying to look into the budgets that we can cut because my goal is to be like, okay, what can we offer people to try and make this a little more comfortable, right? I would even have called up Sony and been like, hey, listen, you got those new PlayStation 5s, right? We should send them to a couple of lucky people just to, they get to sample out the PlayStation 5s and shit like that. And PlayStation 5s, and that means that the budget's pretty fucking cheap, right?
See, look, especially even NJ Baker agrees with me.
All right. No, I understand what you're saying, but I'd be looking into a budget to try and make it so that way people would be more inclined to staying home. What I ended up doing was getting a bunch of PlayStation 2 video games because I've got a PS2.
Yeah.
And I fucking just sat there during lockdown, played my video games, went out shopping, got my cigarettes while I was out shopping, and then I'd come home. I'd wash all my clothes and sanitize everything, scrub it. I
noticed something.
Yeah.
I can't remember how long ago it was. And I can't remember. I think it was posted by Whitmer or one of Whitmer's henchmen or whatever. But there was a list of things that you could do during Halloween. And it literally listed everything that the holidays are about. Anyway, spending time with your family, making decorations, playing games. Like, are you really that fucking deprived you don't fucking do that at the holidays anyway?
Well, look at the society we live in, Twiggy.
Okay. Point noted.
but again,
I just wanted to point it out. Like they're forcing everybody to stay home simply for the fact that they can spend time with their families when they know damn well there's a more passive, less aggressive, less iron fucking fist way of doing it.
And the thing is though, if she would have just said, stay in lockdown until further notice, I'm gonna get down to the bottom of this and together we'll find a solution, the Michiganders would have been like, holy shit, she gives a fuck about us.
Yes.
She wouldn't have come out like a fucking tyrant cunt, right? So I would have said, hey, listen, I'm going to look into the budget. Let's see what supplies I can deliver some of the Michiganders. I would recommend your local legislation to do the same. Maybe send some supplies. Maybe send some tampons. Maybe send some, you're going to be locked up with a woman for a while. Paper. Yeah, toilet paper for sure. It wouldn't have been a crisis. But again, what I find to be very peculiar we're going to get to that here in 1 second. Make sure you jot note of the toilet paper thing because I'm going to get into that here in a minute. Okay, and I'm going to get into this current
got my magic wand.
I've got my magic wand too, but apparently it makes more messes than it does anything else. Not very productive.
Giggity.
I know. So, but that's what I would have done. It's not necessarily what she did. It's how she went about it. And it was her posture, man. Like your posture and your facial expressions say 90% of what you're not saying. That up. So the way that she was at the podium, like all cocky and shit. Why? Because she was ready to be vice president.
She's just, you need to do this. You have to. I am going to make sure that this happens. I'm doing this for your safety. You are going to be okay under my power. And then that fucking night, she's posting this video. She's just so passionate and loving and caring. Stay inside. Take care of your family. That to me is a dictator.
Yep. But if I would have said, listen, stay locked down until further notice, we're going to get down to the bottom of this. We're going to figure out how to beat this thing while we're waiting for a vaccine. I'll keep you all posted. What I would have also done is what my local legislation did for a while till they got bored of it, is they had town hall phone calls. So I would have had once a week, right? Every Friday, There would have been a council call, well, kind of like how we do every Sunday.
Yeah.
It would have been that, but it would have been open to any Michigander who wanted to be on the line inside this very, very, very much automated, right? Town hall meeting. You get to ask your questions. I'll try and find the answers for you. If I don't, there's a doctor that I've brought in that's going to be able to help us out and answer some of your questions. I'm going to have fucking experts answer your fucking questions. And that's what I would have done as governor, has been very inclusive and been very transparent. I know. It's funny. I know.
I don't just two things. You use the word expert in Michigan in the same sentence.
No, we bring in experts. Like, we obviously have to import them. They're not born here.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say things like that? Or? Fuck it. I'm just not going to win the state of Michigan or Ohio. That's all. I'm just not going to win 2 key states in 2024. That's all right. But that's what I would have done, is I would have brought in experts, imported them from other states and other countries, I'm sure, and said, all right, so these guys can answer your questions, right? Hey, what are we doing about the COVID crisis? Like, are we still having flights in? Rather than I don't knows, or instead of like, we're doing the best that we can every fucking second.
No shit.
Right? Which is, we're doing the best that we can, which is what I got. I'm like, my 4-year-old nephew tells me he's doing the best he can. He can't color in the lines. I expect that from a 4-year-old, not from a governor.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I can agree with that.
So, again, I would have been finding solutions with the Michiganders and said, hey, let's work on this. We're going to figure this out. In the meantime, you guys just stay locked down. To me, it would have been no different of a thing of being like, hey, listen, you guys stay here. I'm going to go find a solution to this problem. I don't need anything happening to you guys. So you guys stay here in your bunkers, and I'm headed out that way for supplies and shit like that. I'm going to go see what we got in the finances. I'm going to go see what we got in the budget and try and make this just a fucking easy thing. We've never been through this before in our lifetime. Let me do this. You guys do. All I'm asking is for you guys to do this, and I'll report back to you next Friday. That's what I would have done. And I'm sure the Michiganders would have been like, holy shit, really? Okay. Yeah. I'll wait to hear what you got to say. And it would have been a weekly report, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you would have heard something. So what's New Zealand doing? Well, New Zealand's doing this. Japan is doing this. Tokyo is doing this. Russia's doing this. Like, so, and we're trying to figure out, this is based off of climate. So if you guys have any questions in the meantime, I'm just letting you know where we are at. And by that point, 3 months go by, and we would have gotten a call from New Zealand being like, hey, Michigan, you guys still in lockdown? Yeah. Well, we just ended our 3-month lockdown, and turns out no COVID cases. So you guys should be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have done. And if the COVID crisis would have come back, I'd have locked everybody up again and said, okay, so clearly it survives in colder climate. We need to get to the bottom of this. But here's the question, Twiggy. Okay. Here's the $1 million question. How is it that I went to South Carolina, and you saw the picture? It's my profile picture. Yeah. Am I wearing a mask?
No.
Were there singers wearing masks?
No.
Were there people in the crowd wearing masks?
No.
How many COVID cases have you heard of coming from that festival? 0. There have been no cases coming in from Bedford Brewery. There's been no calls coming in from Lancaster, South Carolina.
If I remember correctly, all the states in the southern states, there's not one case, or at least not very many, being reported. And of the ones that are, the doctor has literally said, you're going to be fine.
Okay, now here's the kicker, though. This depends on who you talk to, because all the COVID cases are on the rise right now. Have you seen the map?
Supposedly.
Right, and that's what I want to get into. So normally, my government tells me this is a crisis we need to pay attention to. I'm like, okay, sure. Like when we first had COVID, I'm like, well, this fucking sucks. Like, I've never been through a pandemic before. I've never seen WWE on TV where there's faces on screens instead of people in the crowd. I live in strange times.
No shit.
But
well, I want to bring something up real quick.
Yeah.
You said you're a man of history. You like studying history.
I do.
Does, in your lifetime and mine, does this pandemic seem at all familiar to you at all?
Are you talking about when it was like with SARS and Ebola and the flu and all
Anthrax,
these
swine flu,
anthrax?
bird flu.
Well, anthrax is it's a biological weapon. Anthrax isn't necessarily a virus.
It was along the same time. I can remember a few people in my school. I'm gonna have to wear a mask to check my mail.
Yeah, I remember when staph was a thing and we were wearing masks. Like, you don't understand. You don't breathe in staph. Like it comes with open wounds. And as it turned out, if you just wash your hands, you're not going to get staph.
And the bird flu. You remember that?
Swine flu, bird flu. You had Ebola. You did have the anthrax threats. You did have these things.
Every single year, it's always some kind of deadly virus. They always try making some kind of help, and it's just a fucking PSA to wash your hands. That's all it is.
But here's the kicker. Now they're saying that you can breathe it in. It can go into your orifices, including your ears, that the virus can go in here. And I'm thinking to myself, listen, I can't rub two brain cells together, and I certainly don't have my own laboratory to test all this. But I will say this. I find it pretty fucking peculiar that I come back from South Carolina, no pandemic. I stayed home and voted, right? As it was my right to do, absentee ballot. But after the election, all of a sudden we're seeing a spike. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden. And what I find to be also very peculiar is that it's right around the holidays, and what people aren't realizing, it's not only just the holidays, but the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
For a lot of businesses. So they got a lot of bonuses they want to get. So if you go look on Amazon right now.
Wizard of 78, MJ Baker. It wasn't during my time, but I remember hearing my uncle talk about it.
But listen, if you look back at what was happening with the Blizzard, we go out and we get our supplies and shit like that. There were multi-billion-dollar companies back in 78 that were thriving. Corner stores were thriving. But here's what's gotta love this network. Intelligent political discourse with moderate to severe mention of Sid's dipstick. Touche. I shake my lemonade at you.
I have water.
But one of the things that I've been trying to bring up is all the toilet paper is being brought up again, all the sanitizer, all the disinfectant, all's being brought up again, right around the time of the holidays, right? And she also wants to put in this 3-week lockdown just before Thanksgiving. Okay.
Another point, I don't know if this is relevant. A while back, for reasons I refuse to discuss, I had to actually stay at University of Michigan for a week straight. And
I told you not to fuck that dead body. What'd you go and do? You went and fucked that dead body, didn't you?
Alcohol was involved. I'm sorry. I'm lonely.
Yeah, we've all been there.
The nurse told me flat out, you have to wash your hands because the hand sanitizer will not kill C. diff.
Now, here's the other thing. Hand sanitizer, if you use too much of it, it doesn't just get rid of certain bacteria, it gets rid of all bacteria, which means your immune system is compromised.
Yeah.
In order to like there's people that were constantly doing the whole, you got to do this and you got to do that as a kid, like constantly washing kids' hands, like constantly like doing this, that, and the other. They'll end up with asthma. They'll end up with fucking long-term issues. Mm-hmm. A lot of long-term issues. And what's really, really fucking sad, dude, is that in today's society, when it comes to COVID, we forget that there's other colds and bacteria and flus out there right now.
Like influenza.
Right. There are other, and you need antibodies for those. Us preventing us from getting COVID is also preventing us from getting these viruses that are going to linger forever. Mm-hmm. Like COVID might end up being one of those things that lingers forever. We may not get rid of it.
I honestly don't think there is a such thing as COVID. I really don't.
I do, but here's another thing that people forget. There's different strains of COVID.
Yeah, SARS.
SARS is a strain of COVID. You've also got different, like the flus and the colds and whatever. COVID-19 is a different COVID. It was discovered in 2019. That's how it got its number. It's not
I can assure you we've known about it longer than 2019.
Well, there's people that have said that I could have had COVID last August. Like I had this bad respiratory thing and whatnot. There was people that said I could have gotten it December and January and what have you. Like I could have, we don't know. I mean, fuck, you and me could have had COVID and we won't know. We won't know. And the antibodies only stay in you for a certain amount of time. So if we test, we're going to test negative. And if we do have antibodies, it doesn't linger. Crazy McCormick writes, if you kill all the germs around you and live a completely sterile life, then when germs do come along, you're not going to be prepared. Thank you, Crazy McCormick. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes.
See, people agree with me. It's scary that people look at this face, see all this.
Are brainwashed.
I know. Thank fuck. But here's my other question, though. I believe COVID's a real thing. Here's what I think happened. COVID became a real thing, and the government and multi-billion-dollar companies went, whoa. How do we use this to our advantage?
We infect the entire nation. Oh, what? Munchausen syndrome.
Now the other question then becomes, where do we go from here, right? If we've got 3 weeks of lockdown, right? What's 3 weeks going to do in the first place? Give me one second.
You just made me think of something.
Yeah, go ahead and talk. I can still hear you.
Big Pharma. Look at all the controversy and shit that's been going on whenever the fuck this shit started about Big Pharma. The health plans. Help me out here, Sid. There was supposed to be some kind of bailout, whatever, and Big Pharma was pissed off about it because they were going to lose a shit ton of money.
Yeah, so big pharmaceutical companies, what they were doing is they were doing test runs, that we were getting vaccines, we were getting trial things, and what people don't realize is that doctors get a cut, they get a percentage of the pharmaceutical drugs. So, or of that money. So it's commission. So if I said, oh yeah, kid, you definitely need Adderall, and here's how much it costs, I get a kickback from that.
Right. And then the Affordable Care Act was supposed to put some kind of dent in that, and that's where the fucking people really started bitching about it.
But here's the problem with that. You're going to get your generic brand, your generic shit, and Paxil being one of them. Is it Paxil? I think it's Paxil, where it's a pill that's supposed to work alongside an antidepressant. So it's an antidepressant that kind of works, but you're supposed to pair it with another antidepressant.
You're supposed to take this with the antidepressant.
Yes.
While we're hearing voices in your head to kill yourself.
Yes. Some side effects may include suicidal thoughts. I know. But that's the problem, man. We've become so dependent on medicine. So dependent.
Yeah. And not even the right kind of medicine. There is literally thousands, millions of different kinds of medicines out there that we could use for arthritis, headaches, nausea, what the fuck ever, that are better than what's being put in the stores that come from natural environments, but it's not covered by the insurance.
Cocaine.
Yes.
It cures migraines, makes you feel great. If you got a stuffy nose, it'll get that out real fucking quick.
I wanted to ask you about that. Oregon, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how people look at Oregon and they're thinking to themselves, what they've done is they legalized everything. What they did is they decriminalized the use of it. Mm-hmm. However, you can still have intent to distribute charges. Okay. And what happens is if you're busted, you don't go to prison, you go to rehab, which means rehab facilities are going to start getting packed up, which means you're going to start seeing more fentanyl coming into that state. Mm-hmm. So it does raise problems. Like fentanyl should be the real thing that we focus on here and getting that out of our drugs. Like I'm fine if you want to do cocaine. I'm totally cool with that. You want to do some coke? Do some coke. If you want to smoke some weed? Smoke some weed. Stay the fuck away from moderation. Fentanyl. And I mean, don't go Scarface about it, please.
So you're losing my little friend.
And if you do go Scarface about it, share the wealth. And and it bugs me though that people, when they see things that happen in Oregon, like when the decriminalizing of marijuana happened here in Michigan, or legalization of it, I didn't vote for legalization. I voted for decriminalizing it. Now here's why. When you legalize something, and this is what Oregon figured out, if you legalize it, the federal government will fucking make money hand over fist, which also takes out your mom and pop fucking herb shops.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got Walmart versions of these marijuana shops, right? These dispensaries, I should say.
Marijuana is actually starting to.
Right. And they're starting to take out, because now you got to file these kinds of taxes, file this kind of paperwork, this application fee, pass or fail, $150.
I can't remember what Walmart it was. I was over by the plant section. I got a huge whiff of that shit. Like,
yeah, Walmart's doing it. But down in Florida, they're already kicking out these small dispensaries, these privately owned ones. They're getting rid of them. They're saying, "Oh, you want to do this? You need permission from your government. You gotta have these."
Yeah, I saw a video actually.
Yeah,
they were running their own dispensary, and this company came to them and offered a job to. They tried pitching it like they were going to be in charge of their own company, but essentially they were going to be working for the bigger company.
Mm-hmm. Now the question then lies: if they're doing this with marijuana, what the fuck else are they going to do this with? It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder what our federal government is doing, and how all this is happening. Because of course, what people forget is the Democrats are in the pockets and been in the pockets with these lobbyists. They've been laying in bed with these people that have been giving them money, financing wars, financing war efforts, financing everything that you could possibly fucking imagine. The Democrats have been at the helm of this. This just didn't happen when Bush was in office.
That's why I hate money. We are using
I don't
it
hate
for the wrong
money.
fucking reasons.
I hate power.
Money is power.
And here's why I hate power. I mean, I've got money. Do you have money?
No.
You have no money in your pocket right now.
None.
Right. But you're here with this network to try and make money, right?
Yes.
Does anybody in this chat look at us and think, oh, these guys are power hungry by chance?
Well, what I mean by that is, oh no, he's a fucking fake ass scenario. Look at McMahon. He's a fucking multimillionaire. He owns WWE. He could buy his way in and out of any situation he would want, as long as the price is right.
He's already done it.
Yeah.
Steroid trial. He beat it.
Yes. Yeah.
He almost got Linda McMahon inside of Donald Trump's cabinet.
Yes.
Linda McMahon was going to be in his cabinet. And unfortunately, I can't remember if it was Congress that said no, or if Trump reneged the deal with Vince. But if you notice, Vince was kind of grooming Trump. And all of a sudden, Linda McMahon, if you go back and look, she was going to be in the cabinet.
And we actually touched on this a little bit in our last show. Fighter Jet is a $12 million project. If we take that $12 million and we focus that and put it into some kind of, I don't know, maybe educational system, and we put it for lunches, that would pay for a school's lunch for every single kid in that building for the next 20 fucking years.
Now, you're not wrong, but here's another thing I want to point out to you, Twiggy. They're not putting the money where it should. And they said this during the debate. It's not what they said, it's what they didn't say. They didn't talk about the homeless veterans. They didn't talk about the kids this time around like they did with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Right? Remember when they had the stage full of kids? They didn't pull that shit this time, right? Well, obviously COVID, so you can't have kids on the stage, but they didn't even address the issue. They didn't address the issue with firearms even, or a whole lot. It was basically racism. It was riots. It was
all the big shit that was going on in 2020.
It was all that shit. What happened to the policies and the real issues? That's why I didn't vote for either of those politicians. Had they had brought it up just once and shared their thoughts on it, I'd have been fine. But the moderator did a shit job on all three of those debates, including the one with the vice president. All the moderators were fucking trash. All of them. I won't even take painkillers for headaches until I've made sure I'm hydrated. I've eaten, I've had caffeine and tried to pop my neck. We take medication for symptoms too without addressing the cause. That's true too. Like when if I take Viagra and it's harder for, it stays harder more than 4 hours, I'm not going to go straight to the doctor. I'm going to call her back and say, listen, get back here quick. Like it still hasn't gone away.
I despise pills. I hate them in all their forms.
But here's the kicker though. We don't pay attention to the symptoms, and we don't pay attention to we just go it's almost like second nature. Like you wake up in the morning, and if you're 32 years old and you're waking up and you're taking multicolored pills to get up in the morning, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You got a you got a dependency problem, and you don't even realize it. And what you don't realize is that's where addiction comes in. Because if you got a severe headache, and I don't got ibuprofen, but I got this little fucking blue pill. If you want to try that, well, I don't have a headache, but I got a fucking headache, and so we're taking whatever to try and get rid of a pain. I mean, it's
a quick fix,
right? And rather than try and do like, the wait it out, try hydrating, try water, try eating, try banging a gorgeous woman, like that makes you feel better all the time. All the time. Like headache is gone, right? Ladies who are like, I have a headache, not tonight. Well, maybe if you'd suck some dick, you wouldn't have a headache. I'm just saying. Have you tried that option? A little extra protein. Good for you.
Didn't somebody make a rule if you don't eat your beef, you can't have your pudding?
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have your pudding.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat. That was D12. That was off of the Devil's Night album. You don't remember that?
No, I don't. It's been so long since I listened to that album.
It was at the end of Revelations.
I'll have to look at that again.
Yeah, shit, I could find it right now.
Well, we're in the middle of a debate right now. We don't.
All right. So, anyways, moving forward.
What are we talking about?
Is the couch auction? Is this the couch auction? But one of the things I want to get into real quick before I have to take off here, because we're almost down to that hour. One of the things I want to get into, and I want to have this discussion, and I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. I mean this. We can find a solution to this COVID case. We can find a solution together to try and figure out what works for us. Now, I went down to South Carolina, hung out with people, no mask. Biker showed up. They didn't wear masks. Guy at the bar didn't wear a mask. Cops were down there. They weren't wearing masks. I'm not dead. I have no cold, no headaches, no cough. I have no sense of smell, but I haven't had a sense of smell since I was like 14 years old. Anyway.
And by the way, I'm doing my part.
Yeah, and you look fucking great. And you look fucking great. But this is another thing that bothers me, guys. When they're talking about wearing the masks, apparently that's not enough. Now they're going to use this to abuse their powers. Like, I'm warning you right now.
They already are.
And I'm not even talking with just Whitmer, but the rest of the fucking government. When you've got Biden in there, you've got Harris in there, you really think they're gonna like your freedoms? They've already said,
no shit.
We're gonna make it so you can't buy gun parts through the mail, which means if you're out at the shooting range as a hobby and your firing pin breaks, you don't get to order a firing pin online.
Nope, you have to travel 50 fucking miles to the nearest gun store.
And they're going to be out of stock.
3 weeks.
They're going to be out of stock because how do they order their parts if they can't order it online?
No shit.
That's my point. If you guys give the government an inch, they will take a mile every time. FDR did it with the New Deal. You guys are going to have Social Security. You guys are going to have Medicare, Medicaid. Oh, but no alcohol. You don't? What? Why are you getting rid of our alcohol? And if you're thinking to yourselves, it's because they couldn't tax it. They were taxing it during George Washington. So before everyone's yelling 1776, remember this. It was George Washington that came up with the idea to tax your fucking liquor. And it started with whiskey. So before you're thinking, make America great again, 1776.
This country is so fucking ass backwards.
Yeah. And the problem is, it's the lack of history and the lack of knowledge that we're teaching our kids. We're teaching that we got along with the Native Americans and everybody was hunky-dory. Yeah. That's what it is. So, before I got to get out of here, guys, I want to say this. Please, if you haven't already, go to the Sid Jones Network page over on Facebook, facebook.com/Sid Jones Network. Click on the link for change.org. On that link, you're going to find a petition to help me get on the ballot. Oh, there's a QR code? You made a QR code for me? That is so sweet.
Look at the marquee, dude. Look at the marquee. Really? Look at
that doesn't mean that that's what's there on that QR code. I'm not going to assume you just made a QR code for me. That's pretentious of me. For those of you that think I'm an egotistical, maniacal, what's the other word that people call me?
Asshole.
Yeah, an asshole. That's the other one. What's the other one? Oh, narcissist. That's it. A narcissist, a pretentious, narcissistic bastard asshole. Please remember, I didn't assume that somebody did something nice for me.
Yeah, so, I'm the asshole here.
Right. So, Twiggy, I want to thank you for doing that. For you guys, please scan that QR code. Make sure you guys are signing that petition, because what you're going to do is going to make it so I'm on the ballot in all 50 states. So, and it gets sent. If you look at the list, MSNBC is going to get it, CNN, Fox News, the Republican National Committee, and the Democratic National Committee. So both of them are going to be put on notice. When we get all the signatures that we need, they're going to be put on notice that Sid Jones will be on the ballot for all 50 fucking states. The road to the White House begins now.
Let's make it happen, people.
When I found out who my opponent was going to be, and it turns out it's going to be Harris. Spoiler alert. She's going to invoke the 25th Amendment. We'll get into that on the next Master Debaters episode for sure. We will definitely get into the 25th Amendment, how that's going to be invoked, and it's going to be very interesting. Twiggy, I'm going to head out. I got shit I got to go take care of, apparently, that just walked in through the door. So I'm going to go handle that. Make sure you talk about your song, please, with who you're trying to reach that out to. Do that, Twiggy. I'm going to catch this replay because I love listening to myself talk on a regular basis.
I've always known you to love this sound of your own voice, bro.
I do. At least somebody does. At least somebody does. A salute to each and every one of you. Please stay tuned here at twitch.tv/Sid Jones Network. Make sure you guys are following us. Subscribe to us if you so choose. Pretty please. It'll help put money in this guy's pocket. At least you can pay the guy. And I'm not even cutting my own paychecks. Like, I don't know who needs to know this, but I'm not even cutting the paychecks. I'm getting a paycheck from the Sid Jones Network. Like, I'm not even paying myself. So before they're thinking Sid Jones is just keeping all that Sid Jones Network money, I'm fucking getting a paycheck just like this guy is. That's the truth. This is God's honest truth. I was diagnosed ADHD and was prescribed Ritalin when I was in the 5th grade. Because of that, I can't stand pills. I don't even like to take Tylenol. Good for you, Mr. McCormick. And I know what it's like to be, an Adderall kid.
It was Pink Floyd.
Huh?
It was Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Oh, so D12 kind of did like a little thing on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, I thought it was just something from D12, and I actually like Pink Floyd. I like some of their stuff. But with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sid Jones. If you guys ain't down with any of this, fuck what you think. I'm going to see you guys live this Saturday for a very special interview that you guys have not seen yet, and I didn't even get to give you guys my special announcement, so you have to stay tuned this Saturday for that very special announcement. Twiggy, a salute to you. Salute to each and every one of you. Much love, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.
Later, Sid. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to thank everybody that has tuned in. Thank you to everybody that was in the comments. Like I said, if you scan the QR code right here, then you will go to the website where you can help Sid become on the ballots in all 50 states. Also, my single, Family Business, is out now. On my Bandcamp, just go to twiggydro.bandcamp.com and you look for the two guys. Look for the guy holding a gun to his head. It's a red and white album, but called Family Business. I am featuring a guy on there. His name is D the Mac. He's from the East Coast, fucking amazing rapper. There's also a song on there called Run On. I'm dedicating that to Max Julian. There's also another song on there, Sibling Rivalry. I'm trying to get that out to as many places as absolutely possible. You're not going to be disappointed. Trust me. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Download it. All 3 songs are free. Also, this Friday, I have an interview with Smoking Joe from KDT at 9 p.m. on the Creature Features show. I know it says the 21st. That was my fuck up. I'm sorry. And I will also have another interview coming up with a very special person myself next Friday. So you guys are going to want to tune in for that. I will have some more updates on that later. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. My name is Twiggy Joe. This is the latest version of Master Debaters. I am out of here.